The night Evelyn Hayes signs her divorce papers, she doesn't cry. She sits alone in a cramped coffee shop 3 blocks from the courthouse, rain hammering the windows, black ink bleeding across her signature like something dying slowly. Across town in the same hour, her husband vanishes without a trace. 2 years later, he reappears as Adrian Vale, the most dangerous man in Chicago, offering her millions to walk back into his life. But the money comes with a price. And the man waiting for her inside that empire of blood and steel is no longer the broken husband she remembers. He's something far more terrifying. He's someone who learned how to survive. If you want to know whether broken people can be made whole again, stay until the end. Hit that like button and drop a comment telling me what city you're watching from. I want to see how far this story travels. Borsec. The rain doesn't stop. It hasn't stopped for 3 days straight, turning Chicago into something gray and drowned. Evelyn Hayes stands at the window of her office on the west side, watching water hammer the cracked pavement outside the outreach center. The building used to be a steel factory. Now it's a patchwork of donated furniture, peeling paint, and families who have nowhere else to go. She presses her forehead against the cold glass. Outside, a mother drags 2 kids through the rain toward the entrance. The woman's coat is too thin. The kids don't have umbrellas. Evelyn watches them disappear beneath the awning and feels the familiar tightness in her chest, the one that never really goes away. Dr. Hayes? She turns. Maria stands in the doorway, clutching a file folder against her chest. She's 23, still in grad school, still believes this work can fix things. Evelyn envies that. Yeah? There's a family downstairs. They just got evicted. Mom, 2 kids, no family in the city. I told them you might be able to help. Evelyn nods. Give me 5 minutes. Maria hesitates. You okay? I'm fine. It's a lie. They both know it. But Maria leaves anyway, because that's the script they follow. Evelyn waits until the door clicks shut, then opens her desk drawer and pulls out the envelope she's been avoiding all morning. The return address is a law firm downtown. Expensive. The kind of place that charges by the minute. She tears it open. Inside is a single sheet of paper. Official letterhead, legal language. At the bottom, 2 signatures, hers and Ethan's. The divorce is final. She expected to feel something, relief, maybe, or sadness, or anger. Instead, there's just a hollow ache, the kind that settles deep in your bones and refuses to leave. She folds the paper carefully and slides it back into the envelope. Then she locks it in the drawer and goes downstairs to meet the family with nowhere to sleep. Thought. The woman's name is Carmen. She sits across from Evelyn in the cramped counseling room, hands shaking around a paper cup of coffee. Her kids, a boy, maybe 6, and a girl who can't be older than 4, sit on the floor in the corner, coloring with broken crayons Maria scrounged from somewhere. I had the rent, Carmen says quietly. I swear I did, but my son got sick and the hospital bills. She stops, swallows hard. They changed the locks this morning, threw our stuff on the curb. Evelyn writes notes she won't remember later. It's muscle memory at this point. Do you have any family nearby? My mom's in Texas, but she's got her own problems. What about the kid's father? Carmen's jaw tightens. He's not in the picture. Evelyn nods. She doesn't push. She's heard this story 100 times in 100 different voices. The details change. The desperation doesn't. We have emergency housing, Evelyn says. It's not permanent, but it'll get you through the next few weeks while we figure out something more stable. I'll make some calls. Carmen's eyes fill with tears. Thank you. I don't know what I would have done if... You don't have to thank me, Evelyn says quietly. Just take care of your kids. After Carmen leaves, Evelyn sits alone in the counseling room and stares at the wall. There's a crack running from the ceiling to the floor, branching out like a river delta. She's been meaning to patch it for months. She never does. Her phone buzzes. It's a text from her sister. Dinner this weekend? Evelyn doesn't answer. She puts the phone face down on the desk and closes her eyes. The center closes at 6. Evelyn stays until 7, finishing paperwork no one will read and returning emails that could wait until morning. When she finally locks up, the rain is slowed to a drizzle. The streets are empty. The west side at night is all shadows and boarded windows and the distant sound of sirens. She drives home through flooded intersections, her ancient Honda sputtering at every red light. The radio plays news she doesn't listen to. Something about gang violence on the south side. Something about the mayor's latest press conference. She turns it off. Her apartment is a studio in a building that smells like mildew and old carpet. She unlocks the door, kicks off her shoes, and stands in the dark for a long time before turning on the lights. The walls are still yellow. She painted them 2 years ago when she was 7 months pregnant and convinced everything would be okay. Ethan had helped. They'd spent an entire Saturday in this room, laughing and arguing about whether the shade was buttercup or sunflower. He'd gotten paint in his hair. She'd kissed him anyway. Now the yellow just looks faded. Wrong. She sits on the edge of the bed and pulls out her phone, opens her messages, scrolls past her sister's text to the conversation thread labeled Ethan Hayes. The last message is from 18 months ago. I can't do this anymore. She'd sent it at 3 a.m. after another night of sleeping in separate rooms and pretending everything was fine. He never responded. 3 weeks later, he was gone. No forwarding address, no explanation, just gone. She deletes the thread. Then she opens her contacts and deletes his number too. It doesn't make her feel better. Pasik. The next morning, Evelyn wakes to her alarm at 6 and drags herself through the same routine she's followed for 2 years. Shower, coffee, drive, work. She tells herself it's enough. Most days, she almost believes it. The center is already buzzing when she arrives. Maria's at the front desk fielding phone calls. A group of men sit in the waiting area, filling out intake forms. Somewhere in the back, a kid is crying. Evelyn grabs a cup of coffee from the break room and heads to her office. She's halfway through her second case file when someone knocks. Come in. The door opens. It's Daniel Brooks, the center's director. He's 60, gray-haired, and perpetually exhausted. Today, he looks worse than usual. We need to talk, he says. Evelyn gestures to the chair across from her desk. What's wrong? Daniel sits down heavily. He's holding a folder. He sets it on the desk between them, but doesn't open it. We're broke, he says flatly. Evelyn blinks. What? We're out of money. The grant we were counting on fell through. We've got maybe 6 weeks of operating capital left. After that, he shakes his head. We're done. The words hit like a punch to the gut. There has to be something we can do. Another grant, a fundraiser, something. I've tried everything, Daniel says. We're tapped out. Evelyn stares at him. So that's it? We just close? Unless a miracle happens. He laughs bitterly. And I stopped believing in those a long time ago. He stands to leave. Evelyn watches him go, her chest tight, her mind racing. The center is the only thing keeping her together. Without it, she's got nothing. Just a yellow apartment and a marriage that died in a hospital room 2 years ago. She's still sitting there when Maria bursts through the door 20 minutes later, breathless and wide-eyed. Dr. Hayes. Not now, Maria. No, you need to hear this. Maria's hands are shaking. We just got a call. Someone wants to donate to the center. Evelyn looks up. How much? Enough to keep us open for the next 10 years. For a second, Evelyn can't breathe. What? It's anonymous, some kind of private donor, but there's a condition. Of course there is. There's always a condition. What is it? Evelyn asks. Maria hesitates. They want to meet you, personally. Evelyn's stomach drops. Why me? I don't know, but they were very specific. No meeting, no donation. Evelyn stands slowly, her pulse hammering in her ears. Who is it? Maria hands her a piece of paper. On it is a name written in neat black ink. Adrian Vale. Evelyn's vision tunnels. The room tilts. She grabs the edge of the desk to steady herself. Dr. Hayes? Are you okay? Evelyn doesn't answer. She's staring at the name like it might disappear if she looks away. Adrian Vale, the most dangerous man in Chicago. The ghost who runs the city's underworld from the shadows, and her ex-husband. Evelyn locks herself in her office for the rest of the day. She tells Maria to cancel her appointments. She ignores Daniel's concerned texts. She sits at her desk and stares at the name on the paper until the letters blur together. Ethan Hayes. Adrian Vale. The same man. It doesn't make sense. It can't be real. But deep down, she knows it is. She pulls out her phone and searches for Adrian Vale. The results are sparse. A few news articles, speculation, rumors, nothing concrete. He's a shadow in the city's underworld, powerful, ruthless, untouchable. No photos, no interviews, just whispers and fear. How did Ethan become this? Her phone rings. Unknown number. She stares at it for 3 rings before answering. Hello? Dr. Hayes? The voice is smooth, professional, male. My name is Marcus. I work for Mr. Vale. He'd like to meet with you tomorrow evening. A car will pick you up at 7. Mr. Vale is aware this may come as a surprise. He asks that you hear him out before making any decisions. The future of your center depends on it. The line goes dead. Evelyn sits in the silence, her heart racing, her hands shaking. She should say no, she should run, but the center is dying, and the families who depend on it are running out of time. And somewhere beneath the fear there's something else. Curiosity. Because the man she married was broken and quiet and incapable of violence, and now he's something else entirely. The next evening, Evelyn stands outside her apartment building in the freezing rain, wearing the only professional outfit she owns that isn't falling apart. A black sedan pulls up to the curb. The windows are tinted, the engine purrs. A man in a dark suit steps out. He's built like a wall, broad shoulders, no neck, eyes that don't blink. Dr. Hayes? She nods. He opens the back door. Mr. Vale is waiting. Evelyn climbs inside. The door shuts. The car pulls away from the curb, and the city blurs past the windows, streetlights, graffiti, shadows. They drive north toward the lake. The neighborhoods change. Crumbling brownstones give way to sleek high-rises and gated estates. The car turns onto a private road lined with bare trees, their branches black against the gray sky. At the end of the road is a mansion. No, a fortress, stone walls, iron gates, security cameras, armed guards. The car stops at the entrance. The driver gets out and opens her door. This way. Evelyn follows him through the gates, her breath misting in the cold air. The mansion looms ahead, all sharp angles and dark windows. Inside, the air is warm, thick with the smell of wood smoke and leather. The driver leads her through a hallway lined with oil paintings, landscapes, portraits, battles. At the end of the hall is a heavy wooden door. He knocks once. Come in. The voice is familiar. Evelyn's chest tightens. The driver opens the door and steps aside. She walks in. The room is an office. Dark wood, floor-to-ceiling bookshelves, a massive desk by the window. A fire crackles in the hearth, and standing by the fire, hands in his pockets, is a man she hasn't seen in 2 years. Ethan. No. Adrian. He's thinner than she remembers. Sharper. His hair is shorter, streaked with gray at the temples. He's wearing a tailored suit that probably costs more than her car. His eyes are the same, dark brown, intense, but there's something different in them now. Something cold. Hello, Evelyn, he says quietly. She can't speak, can't breathe. He steps closer, and she sees the scar on his jaw, a thin white line she doesn't recognize. He stops a few feet away, his hands still in his pockets, his expression unreadable. I know this is a shock, he says, but I need you to listen. You disappeared, she whispers. You just left. I know. And now you're, what? A crime boss? His jaw tightens. It's more complicated than that. Is it? Her voice cracks. Because from where I'm standing, it looks pretty simple. You left me. You became a criminal. And now you want to buy me with blood money. I'm not trying to buy you. His voice is calm, controlled. I'm trying to save the center, and I'm trying to explain. Explain what? That you're a liar? That I'm still the man you married? He pauses. Just not the man you remember. She wants to scream, wants to run, but she stays rooted to the spot, her hands shaking, her vision blurring with tears she refuses to shed. Why? She whispers. Why are you doing this? Adrian looks at her for a long moment. Then he walks to the desk and picks up a folder. He hands it to her. Open it. She does. Inside are photographs, construction sites, apartment buildings. schools, community centers, all of them stamped with the same logo, Vale Enterprises. I've spent the last 2 years trying to fix what I broke, Adrian says quietly. The empire I inherited was built on violence and corruption. I'm turning it into something else, something legitimate. Evelyn stares at the photos. And you want me to believe you're some kind of, what, philanthropist? I want you to see it for yourself. He steps closer. Give me 2 weeks. Let me show you what I've built. And if you still think I'm a monster, I'll walk away. The donation stands either way. Why me? She asks. Why does it have to be me? His expression softens, just for a second. Because you're the only person who ever saw me as something other than broken. The words hit harder than she expects. She closes the folder. I need time to think. Take all the time you need. He nods toward the door. Marcus will drive you home. She turns to leave, then stops. Ethan. Adrian, he corrects gently. She swallows. Did you ever grieve? For him? Adrian's face goes still. For a moment he doesn't answer. Then he says quietly, every single day. She nods. Doesn't trust herself to speak. And then she walks out of the room, through the hallway, past the guards, into the cold night air where the rain has started again, and the world feels like it's splitting open beneath her feet. Evelyn doesn't sleep. She lies in bed staring at the yellow ceiling, listening to the radiator clank and hiss in the corner. Outside, the city hums with distant traffic and sirens. Inside, her mind won't stop replaying the way Adrian looked at her across that office, like she was something fragile he'd already broken once and was terrified of breaking again. At 4 a.m, she gives up. She makes coffee she doesn't drink and sits at her kitchen table with the folder he gave her spread open in front of her. The photographs are professional, high resolution. They show apartment complexes with fresh paint and playgrounds, schools with new roofs and computer labs, community centers that look nothing like the crumbling building where she works. Each one is stamped with the Vale Enterprises logo. She flips to the financial documents, construction permits, tax records, partnership agreements with the city. Everything looks legitimate, too legitimate. Her phone buzzes, a text from Daniel. Did you meet with the donor? She types back. Yes. 3 dots appear, disappear, appear again. And she stares at the screen, her fingers hover over the keyboard. I need more time. She shuts off her phone before he can respond. The center is chaos when she arrives. A pipe burst overnight, flooding the break room and half the hallway. Maria and 2 volunteers are on their hands and knees mopping up water, while Daniel argues with a plumber who's charging triple because it's an emergency. Evelyn steps over a puddle and heads to her office. She's got 3 families waiting for intake appointments and a stack of grant applications that were rejected months ago but still need to be filed. She tries to focus. She can't. Every time she closes her eyes, she sees Adrian standing by the fire, his hands in his pockets, his voice so calm it was almost unbearable. I'm still the man you married. No, he's not. The man she married couldn't look someone in the eye without flinching. He apologized for taking up space. He cried during movies and read poetry books he thought she didn't know about. Adrian Vale doesn't cry. Adrian Vale owns half of Chicago. Her office phone rings. She answers without thinking. Dr. Hayes? The voice is smooth, professional. Marcus. Her stomach tightens. What do you want? Mr. Vale would like to extend an invitation. Tomorrow afternoon. He'd like to show you one of the housing projects. I haven't decided if I'm... He understands. The invitation stands regardless. She closes her eyes. Fine. Where? A car will pick you up at 2. The line goes dead. Evelyn sits in the silence, her pulse hammering. She should say no. She should cut all contact and tell Daniel to find funding somewhere else. But she doesn't. The next afternoon, the black sedan is waiting outside the center at exactly 2 o'clock. Evelyn climbs in without looking at the driver. The car pulls away from the curb and heads south toward neighborhoods she hasn't seen in years. They pass boarded-up storefronts and empty lots choked with weeds. Graffiti covers every surface. People huddle in doorways, shoulders hunched against the cold. Then the scenery changes. New buildings rise from blocks that used to be rubble. The graffiti is gone. The streets are clean. Kids play basketball in a fenced court with fresh nets and painted lines. The car stops in front of a 5-story apartment building. The facade is brick, the windows are new, and there's a small garden in front with benches and planters. The driver opens her door. Mr. Vale is inside. Evelyn steps out. The air smells like concrete and fresh paint. A woman pushing a stroller waves at her from the sidewalk. Evelyn doesn't wave back. She walks into the building. The lobby is bright and clean. Tiled floors, mailboxes that aren't broken, a bulletin board covered with flyers for job training programs and after-school activities. Adrian is standing by the elevator, talking to a man in a hard hat. He's wearing a different suit today, charcoal gray, no tie. He looks up when she enters, and something flickers across his face. Relief, maybe. He excuses himself from the conversation and walks over. "You came," he says. "I'm here," she corrects. That's not the same thing. He nods, doesn't argue. "Come on, I'll show you around." They take the elevator to the 3rd floor. The hallway is carpeted, the walls freshly painted. Adrian leads her to an apartment at the end of the hall and unlocks the door. Inside is a 2-bedroom unit with hardwood floors and large windows that let in cold winter light. The kitchen has new appliances. The bathroom has a working shower and a door that closes. "This building used to be condemned," Adrian says quietly. "The city was going to demolish it. I bought it, gutted it, rebuilt it from the ground up." Evelyn walks to the window and looks out. Below, kids are playing in the courtyard. A man is shoveling snow from the sidewalk. Everything looks normal, safe. "How many units?" she asks. 48, all rented below market rate. Families only. Background checks but no credit requirements. She turns to face him. "And the catch?" "No catch." "There's always a catch." Adrian's jaw tightens. "Not this time." "Why?" The question comes out harsher than she intended. "Why does a crime boss suddenly care about affordable housing?" "Because I know what it's like to have nothing." His voice is calm, but there's an edge to it. "And I know what it's like to watch people suffer because the system doesn't give a damn." "That's a nice speech. Did you rehearse it?" Evelyn's, "Don't." She steps closer, her hands shaking. "Don't act like you're some kind of hero. You run an empire built on violence. You can't wash that away with a couple of apartment buildings." "I'm not trying to wash it away." His eyes are locked on hers. "I'm trying to build something better. With blood money. With money I earned." His voice drops. "And yes, some of it came from places I'm not proud of. But I'm changing that every day. I'm changing it." She wants to believe him. That's the worst part. She wants to believe that the man standing in front of her is capable of redemption. But she's seen too many broken promises, too many people who claimed they'd change and never did. "Show me more," she says finally. Over the next 2 hours, Adrian takes her to 3 more locations. A school on the west side with a new STEM lab and a library full of books that still smell like ink. A community center with a commercial kitchen where a chef is teaching teenagers how to cook. A medical clinic offering free checkups and prescriptions at cost. Everywhere they go, people recognize him. A kid runs up and high-fives him outside the school. A woman thanks him for helping her son get into a job training program. An old man shakes his hand and tells him the clinic saved his life. Adrian accepts it all with the same quiet nod. He doesn't smile, doesn't make speeches. He just listens. And Evelyn watches. She watches the way his shoulders relax when a kid laughs, the way his expression softens when the woman hugs him, the way he looks at the clinic like it's something sacred. This isn't an act. He actually cares. By the time they get back in the car, the sun is setting. The driver takes them through the city as streetlights flicker on, one by one. Adrian sits across from her, silent. His hands are folded in his lap. He looks tired. "You didn't have to do all this," Evelyn says quietly. "Yes, I did." "Why?" He looks at her. "Because I need you to understand." "Understand what?" "That I'm not the man who left you." His voice is raw, honest. "I'm not him anymore." The words sit heavy between them. Evelyn stares out the window. "Then who are you?" Adrian doesn't answer right away. When he does, his voice is barely above a whisper. "I don't know yet." Come. The car drops her off outside her apartment. She climbs the stairs slowly, her legs aching, her mind spinning. Inside, she locks the door and leans against it, her eyes closed. Her phone buzzes. A text from an unknown number. "Thank you for today." Oh. She stares at the message for a long time. Then she types back, "Don't thank me. I haven't decided anything yet." 3 dots appear, then disappear. No response. She tosses her phone on the bed and walks to the bathroom. In the mirror, she looks exhausted, dark circles under her eyes, hair pulled back in a messy bun. She barely recognizes herself. She splashes cold water on her face and tries not to think about the way Adrian looked at her in that apartment, like she was the only thing in the room that mattered. Gek. The next morning, Daniel corners her in the hallway before she can make it to her office. "We need to talk." She sighs. "Not now." "Yes, now." He follows her into the office and shuts the door. "What's going on with this donor?" "It's complicated." "Evelyn, I don't care if it's complicated. We're running out of time. If this donation is real, we need to move on it." She drops into her chair. "It's real." "Then what's the problem?" She looks at him. "The donor is my ex-husband." Daniel blinks. "What?" "Ethan. He's calling himself Adrian Vale now. He's some kind of—" She stops, shakes her head. "It doesn't matter. The point is, I don't know if I can trust him." "Does the money come with strings?" "No, he says it doesn't." "Then take it." "It's not that simple." Daniel leans forward, his hands on her desk. "Evelyn, I've been running this place for 15 years. I've seen families lose everything because we couldn't help them. I've watched kids go hungry because we ran out of funding. If this guy wants to write a check, I don't care if he's your ex-husband or the devil himself. We need that money." She stares at him. "You don't understand." "Then help me understand." She can't, because she doesn't understand it herself. Daniel straightens. "I'm giving you 48 hours. After that, I'm making the call myself." He leaves. The door clicks shut. Evelyn sits in the silence, her chest tight, her hands shaking. She pulls out her phone and stares at Adrian's text from last night. Then she types, "I want to see where you live." The response comes in seconds. "Tonight, 7, same car." Thanks. The mansion looks different at night. The gates are lit with floodlights, casting sharp shadows across the driveway. The windows glow warm against the black sky. Guards patrol the perimeter with rifles slung over their shoulders. Evelyn follows Marcus through the front entrance and into the main hall. It's massive. Marble floors, vaulted ceilings, chandeliers dripping with crystal. Oil paintings line the walls, each one worth more than her annual salary. Adrian is waiting at the top of the staircase. He's wearing dark jeans and a sweater. No suit, no tie. He looks almost normal. "This way," he says. She follows him down a long corridor lined with closed doors. At the end is a sitting room with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the lake. The water is black and calm. Snow falls silently outside. Adrian pours 2 glasses of whiskey from a crystal decanter and hands her one. She takes it, but doesn't drink. "You wanted to see where I live," he says. "This is it." She looks around. It's a fortress. It has to be. Why? He sits in a leather chair by the window. "Because there are people who want me dead." The bluntness of it catches her off guard. "Who?" "Old enemies, rivals, people who don't like what I'm trying to do." He sips his drink. "The empire I inherited was built on fear. I'm trying to rebuild it on trust. Not everyone's happy about that." "So you live in a cage." "I live with the consequences of my choices." He looks at her. "Just like you do." She bristles. "What's that supposed to mean?" "You spend your days trying to save people who can't be saved. You work yourself to exhaustion for a center that's falling apart, and you do it because you can't forgive yourself for what happened." Her hands tighten around the glass. "You don't know anything about me. I know you blame yourself for losing him." His voice is quiet, steady. "I know you think if you save enough families, it'll make up for the one you couldn't save." The words slice through her like a blade. "Don't," she whispers. "I'm not judging you, Evelyn. I'm the same." He sets his glass down. "Every building I renovate, every family I help, it's not about redemption. It's about survival. Because if I stop moving, I'll drown. She looks at him, really looks at him, and sees the cracks beneath the surface, the exhaustion in his eyes, the tightness in his jaw, the way his hands grip the armrest like he's holding himself together by sheer force of will. He's not a monster. He's just broken. Like her. Why did you leave? She asked quietly. Adrian closes his eyes. Because I couldn't stand the person I saw in the mirror. Every time I looked at you, I saw everything I'd failed to protect. And I couldn't... His voice breaks. I couldn't be that weak anymore. So you became this instead. Yes. And do you regret it? He opens his eyes. Every single day. The silence stretches between them, heavy and unbearable. Evelyn sets her glass down. I should go. Wait. He stands. There's something I need to show you. He leads her out of the sitting room, down another hallway, and up a narrow staircase she didn't notice before. At the top is a single door. Adrian pauses in front of it, his hand on the knob. This is the only part of my life I haven't let anyone see, he says quietly. He opens the door. The room inside is small, warm. The walls are painted pale yellow. Evelyn's breath catches. It's a nursery. The same crib they bought together sits against the wall, still wrapped in plastic. The same mobile hangs from the ceiling, tiny stars and moons spinning slowly in the air. On the shelves are ultrasound photos in simple frames, a stack of baby blankets folded neatly in the corner, a rocking chair by the window. Everything is exactly as they left it. Evelyn's legs give out. She sinks to the floor, her hands pressed to her mouth, tears streaming down her face. Adrian kneels beside her. He doesn't touch her, doesn't speak. He just stays there, close enough that she can hear him breathing. I couldn't let him go, he whispers. I tried. I couldn't. She looks at him through blurred vision. You kept all of this? I kept everything. Why? Because he was real. His voice cracks. He was ours, and I needed to remember that. Evelyn reaches out and grabs his hand. He flinches, just for a second, then holds on like she's the only thing keeping him from falling apart. They sit there on the floor of the nursery they built together, surrounded by ghosts and grief, and for the first time in 2 years they cry, not separately, together. Hours later, Evelyn sits in the back of the sedan as it carries her through the sleeping city. Her face is swollen, her chest aches, but something inside her has shifted. She pulls out her phone and opens her messages. Daniel's text from earlier is still waiting. She types, "Tell the donor we accept, but I have conditions." She doesn't wait for a response. She opens a new message to Adrian. "I'll help you. 2 weeks. After that, we see where we stand." The reply comes instantly. "Thank you." She stares at the screen, then she types one more thing. "Don't make me regret this." No response. She locks her phone and leans her head against the window, watching the city blur past. She doesn't know if she's making the right choice, but she knows she can't walk away. Not yet. The next 2 weeks pass in a haze. Adrian picks her up every afternoon in the black sedan. He takes her to construction sites and boardrooms. She meets architects and contractors. She sits in on meetings with city officials who treat Adrian with cautious respect. She watches him negotiate, watches him make decisions, watches the way people listen when he speaks. He's not the quiet man she married. He's someone who learned how to command a room. But late at night, when they're alone in his office or sitting in the nursery upstairs, she sees the cracks. The moments when his mask slips and the grief bleeds through. He tells her things he's never told anyone, about the months after their divorce when he couldn't get out of bed, about the financial deal that connected him to the Vale family, about the dying woman he married out of desperation and duty, a marriage that lasted 6 months before cancer took her, about inheriting an empire soaked in blood and spending every day since trying to wash it clean. Evelyn listens. She doesn't judge. She doesn't forgive. But she starts to understand. One night, they're sitting in the nursery. The city glows outside the window. Adrian is in the rocking chair. Evelyn is on the floor, her back against the wall. "Do you ever think about what he would have looked like?" she asks quietly. Adrian nods. "Every day." "Me too." She closes her eyes. I used to imagine him with your eyes, my nose, your hands. He would have been perfect. No, he wouldn't. She smiles sadly. He would have been messy and loud and impossible, just like every other kid. Adrian laughs, soft and broken. Yeah, he would have. They sit in the silence, wrapped in memories of a person who never got to exist. Then Evelyn says, I'm scared. Of what? Of this. She gestures between them. Of letting you back in and losing you all over again. Adrian stands. He crosses the room and kneels in front of her. I can't promise I won't hurt you, he says quietly, but I can promise I won't leave. Not like before. Not ever again. She looks into his eyes, searches for the lie. She doesn't find one. Okay, she whispers. He reaches out slowly, giving her time to pull away. She doesn't. His hand cups her face, his thumb brushing away a tear she didn't realize had fallen. And then he kisses her. It's not gentle. It's desperate, raw, like they're both drowning and this is the only air left in the world. She kisses him back. Her hands tangle in his hair. His arms wrap around her waist. They sink to the floor together, tangled in each other, surrounded by the ghosts of everything they lost and everything they're too terrified to hope for. When they finally break apart, they're both breathing hard. Evelyn? Don't, she says. Don't say anything. Just... She pulls him back down. They don't talk after that. Magid. She wakes up alone. The nursery is empty. Pale morning light filters through the window. She sits up slowly, her body aching, her mind spinning. What did she just do? She finds her clothes scattered across the floor and gets dressed quickly. Her hands are shaking, her chest is tight. She walks downstairs. The mansion is quiet. Too quiet. She finds Adrian in his office, standing by the window with his phone pressed to his ear. His voice is low, tense. I don't care what it costs. Handle it. He hangs up, turns, sees her. Evelyn, what's wrong? His jaw tightens. Nothing you need to worry about. Don't do that. Don't shut me out. He hesitates. Then he says, there's been a problem. One of my lieutenants, someone I trusted, has been leaking information to a rival organization. Her stomach drops. What kind of information? Locations, schedules, security details. He runs a hand through his hair. Someone tried to hit one of the housing projects last night. We stopped them, but... Are people hurt? No, but it's only a matter of time. She steps closer. What are you going to do? What I have to. The coldness in his voice sends a chill down her spine. Adrian, go home, Evelyn. His eyes are hard, distant. This isn't your world. You asked me to be part of it. I was wrong. The words hit like a slap. She stares at him. So that's it? Last night meant nothing? Last night was a mistake. She flinches. You don't mean that. Yes, I do. He turns away. You should leave. Marcus will drive you. She wants to scream, wants to throw something. Instead, she just stands there, her hands shaking, her vision blurring. Fine, she whispers. She walks out. She doesn't look back. The next 3 days are hell. Evelyn throws herself into work. She takes on extra cases. She stays late. She avoids her phone. Daniel notices. You okay? I'm fine. You don't look fine. I said I'm fine. He doesn't push, but Maria does. Dr. Hayes, you need to talk to someone. I don't need to talk. I need to work. You're going to burn out. Then let me burn. Maria leaves. Evelyn sits alone in her office, staring at the stack of files on her desk. Her phone buzzes. A text from Adrian. We need to talk. She deletes it. Another text, please. She blocks the number, but that night when she gets home, there's a package waiting outside her door. Inside is a single photograph. It's the ultrasound, the one they took at 20 weeks. The image is grainy and faded, but she can still see the tiny profile, the curve of a nose, the shadow of a hand. On the back, written in Adrian's handwriting, I'm sorry, I'm scared, but I meant what I said. I won't leave. A. She sinks to the floor, the photograph clutched to her chest, and finally lets herself break. The next morning, she wakes to pounding on her door. She stumbles out of bed, still half asleep, and opens it. Marcus is standing there, his face grim. You need to come with me. What? Now, Dr. Hayes. The urgency in his voice cuts through the fog. She grabs her coat and follows him downstairs. The black sedan is idling at the curb. She climbs in. The car peels away from the curb before she can ask questions. Where are we going? The estate. Why? Marcus doesn't answer. 20 minutes later, they pull through the gates. The mansion is surrounded by armed men. Smoke rises from one of the wings. Evelyn's heart stops. What happened? Explosion, Marcus says grimly. Last night, Mr. Vale barely made it out. She's out of the car before it fully stops. She runs through the front entrance. The main hall is chaos. Shattered glass, scorched walls, people shouting into radios. Where is he? She screams. A man points toward the sitting room. She sprints down the hallway and bursts through the door. Adrian is sitting on the couch, his shirt torn, his face streaked with soot. A medic is stitching a gash on his forearm. He looks up. Their eyes meet. And she knows. This is the point of no return. If she walks out now, she walks out forever. But if she stays, she crosses the room. She doesn't say anything. She just sits down beside him, takes his hand, and holds on. Adrian's breath shudders. I thought you left, he whispers. I'm here, she says. Why? She looks at him, at the man she loved, lost, and found again in the ruins of everything they built together. Because I'm tired of running. Outside, sirens wail. Inside, the world is on fire. But Evelyn stays. The medic finishes stitching Adrian's arm and backs away without a word. The sitting room is thick with smoke and tension. Through the shattered windows, Evelyn can see flames still licking at the east wing of the mansion. Fire trucks scream in the distance. Adrian's hand is cold in hers. His breathing is shallow, controlled. He's staring at the floor like he's trying to solve a puzzle written in blood. How many? He asks quietly. Marcus steps forward from the doorway. 2 dead, 4 injured. The blast was concentrated in the conference room. If you'd been 5 minutes later to the meeting... I know. Adrian's jaw tightens. Who was in the room? Stevens, Caldwell, your entire security team for the Southside operations. And the device? C4, professional job, someone who knew the building layout. Evelyn's stomach turns. She looks at Adrian. You said it was a leak. You said someone was passing information. I was wrong. His voice is flat, empty. This wasn't a leak. This was an inside job. What's the difference? He finally looks at her. His eyes are dark, haunted. A leak is careless. This was deliberate. Someone I trusted walked a bomb into my home and set it off during a leadership meeting. The words settle like ice in her chest. Who? She whispers. I don't know yet. He stands slowly, favoring his left side. His shirt is torn at the shoulder, revealing a dark bruise spreading across his ribs. But I will. Marcus clears his throat. Sir, the police are asking questions. They want to search the property. Stall them. Adrian moves toward the door. I need to see the bodies. Evelyn grabs his wrist. Adrian, you need a hospital. I need answers. You're hurt. I'm fine. You're not fine. Her voice cracks. You almost died. He turns to face her fully. For a moment, the mask slips. She sees the fear beneath it. The rage. The exhaustion. If I stop now, he says quietly, everyone else dies too. He pulls free and walks out. Evelyn stands alone in the ruined sitting room, her hands shaking, her mind spinning. She can still smell the smoke, still hear the echo of the explosion Marcus described. Chandeliers shattering, walls collapsing, men screaming. She follows Adrian. Look, the East Wing is a disaster. The conference room where the bomb went off is nothing but charred rubble and twisted metal. The ceiling has caved in. The walls are scorched black. 2 bodies lie covered with sheets near the doorway. Adrian kneels beside the first one. He lifts the sheet. Evelyn looks away. She's seen death before. In hospitals, in grief counseling sessions, in the eyes of mothers who've lost children. But this is different. This is violent, intentional. Stevens? Adrian says quietly. He lowers the sheet and moves to the second body. This time, when he lifts the sheet, he goes very still. "What is it?" Marcus asks. Adrian doesn't answer. He just stares at the face beneath the fabric. Evelyn steps closer. The dead man is young, maybe 30, clean-shaven, expensive suit. His eyes are still open. "Who is he?" she asks. "Caldwell." Adrian's voice is hollow. "My financial advisor. He handled all the legitimate business accounts, the housing projects, the scholarships, everything." "Could he have—" "No." Adrian stands abruptly. "Caldwell was loyal. He believed in what we were building." "Then why is he dead?" Adrian looks at her. "Because someone wanted him dead." He walks out of the room without another word. Back. The next 12 hours are chaos. Police swarm the estate. Detectives ask questions Adrian doesn't answer. Forensic teams comb through the wreckage. The bodies are taken away in black bags. Evelyn stays close to Adrian. She doesn't know why. She just knows that if she leaves, something terrible will happen. He spends the afternoon locked in his office with Marcus and 3 other men she doesn't recognize. She can hear shouting through the door, furniture breaking. At one point, someone storms out, a man with gray hair and a scar running down his neck. He slams the door so hard the frame cracks. When Adrian finally emerges, it's almost midnight. His eyes are bloodshot. His hands are shaking. "I need you to leave," he says. "What?" "Go home, Evelyn. It's not safe here." "I'm not leaving you. You don't have a choice." He won't look at her. "Marcus will drive you." "Adrian, please," his voice breaks. "Just go." She wants to fight, wants to demand answers, but the look on his face stops her. She leaves. Marcus drives her back to her apartment in silence. When they pull up to the curb, he finally speaks. "He's trying to protect you." "From what?" "From himself." She stares at him. What does that mean? Marcus meets her eyes in the rear-view mirror. "It means the man you knew is gone, Dr. Hayes. What's left is something else. Something dangerous." He drives away before she can respond. Evelyn climbs the stairs to her apartment, her legs heavy, her mind numb. Inside, she locks the door and sinks onto the couch. Her phone buzzes, a text from Daniel. "We need to talk. Tomorrow morning. It's urgent." She doesn't respond. Another text, this one from an unknown number. "If you want the truth about Adrian Vale, come to the Cathedral Coffee House on Wells Street. Tomorrow. Noon. Come alone." Her pulse spikes. She stares at the message, then she deletes it. But she doesn't sleep. The next morning, Evelyn walks into the center exhausted and jittery from too much coffee. Daniel is waiting in her office, his face grim. "Sit down," he says. She does. He slides a folder across the desk. "This came in the mail this morning, anonymous." Evelyn opens it. Inside are photographs, documents, financial records. Her stomach drops. The photos show Adrian, but not the man she's been spending time with. These are old, grainy surveillance shots. Adrian standing outside a warehouse. Adrian shaking hands with men in suits. Adrian climbing into a black SUV surrounded by armed guards. The documents are worse. Transaction records showing millions of dollars moving through offshore accounts. Names of shell companies. Dates that line up with known organized crime activity in Chicago. And at the bottom, a single sheet of paper with a typed message. Adrian Vale is not who he claims to be. The housing projects are money laundering fronts. The donations are bribes. He's using your center to clean his reputation while expanding his criminal empire. Get out before you become his next victim. Evelyn's hands are shaking so hard she drops the folder. "Tell me this isn't real," she whispers. Daniel's face is pale. "I don't know, but if it is, it's not." She stands abruptly. "Someone's trying to sabotage him." "Evelyn, look at the evidence." "I don't care about the evidence." Her voice is too loud, too desperate. "I know him. He wouldn't. You haven't seen him in 2 years. People change." "Not like this." Daniel reaches for her hand. She pulls away. "I'm going to find out the truth," she says. "How?" She thinks of the text from last night, the unknown number, the invitation. "I have a source." Facts. The Cathedral Coffee House is a narrow brick building wedged between a dry cleaner and a pawn shop. The windows are fogged with steam. Inside, the air smells like burnt espresso and wet wool. Evelyn sits at a corner table, her back to the wall, her eyes on the door. At exactly noon, a woman walks in. She's tall, mid-40s, with sharp features and silver-streaked hair pulled into a tight bun. She's wearing a black coat and leather gloves. She scans the room, spots Evelyn, and walks over. "Dr. Hayes?" Evelyn nods. "Who are you?" The woman sits down without being invited. "My name is Catherine Reeves. I was Adrian Vale's attorney until 3 months ago." Evelyn's pulse quickens. "Why did you leave?" "Because I realized what he was really doing." Catherine pulls out a tablet and sets it on the table. "And I have proof." She swipes through files. More financial records. More photographs. A video of Adrian in a warehouse, surrounded by crates marked with shipping labels from overseas. "This footage is from 6 weeks ago," Catherine says. "Those crates contain weapons, illegal firearms being smuggled into the city and distributed to criminal organizations." Evelyn's vision blurs. "That's not possible." "It's not only possible, it's happening." Catherine leans forward. "Adrian Vale is not trying to go legitimate. He's consolidating power. Every housing project, every scholarship, every donation, it's all part of a larger operation to control Chicago from the ground up, and you're helping him do it." "No." Evelyn shakes her head. "I've seen what he's building. I've met the families." "The families are real. The buildings are real. But they're also cover." Catherine's voice is cold, precise. "He's using your center to launder money and buy political influence. You think the city approved all those construction permits because Adrian's a good guy? He owns half the aldermen in Chicago." Evelyn stands abruptly. The chair scrapes against the floor. "I don't believe you." "Then ask him yourself." Catherine slides a USB drive across the table. "Everything's on here, financial records, witness statements, video evidence. Show it to him. See what he says." Evelyn stares at the drive like it's a live grenade. "Why are you doing this?" she asks quietly. Catherine's expression softens, just for a second. "Because I believed in him too, and I was wrong." She stands and walks out. Evelyn sits alone at the table, the USB drive cold in her palm, the world crumbling around her. She doesn't go back to the center. She drives straight to the mansion. The gates are still surrounded by police tape, but the cops are gone. Marcus is waiting at the entrance. He looks surprised to see her. "Dr. Hayes, I need to see Adrian. He's not taking visitors." "I don't care." She pushes past him and storms into the mansion. Adrian is in the study, standing by the window with his phone pressed to his ear. He's wearing the same clothes from yesterday. His face is pale, exhausted. He sees her and ends the call. "Evelyn?" She throws the USB drive onto his desk. "What is this?" he asks. "You tell me." He picks it up, turns it over in his hands. "Where did you get this?" "Someone who used to work for you, Catherine Reeves." Adrian goes very still. "What did she tell you?" His voice is too calm. "That you're a liar. That the housing projects are money laundering fronts. That you're using my center to clean your reputation while running guns and bribing politicians." He doesn't deny it. He just stands there holding the drive, his expression unreadable. "Say something," Evelyn whispers. "What do you want me to say?" "I want you to tell me it's not true." Adrian sets the drive down carefully. "Some of it's true." The words hit like a physical blow. Evelyn takes a step back. "What?" "The offshore accounts, the shell companies, the political contributions." He meets her eyes. "That part's real." Her chest tightens. "And the weapons?" "No." His voice hardens. "I don't run guns. I never have." Catherine's lying about that. "How do I know you're not the one lying?" "Because I'm telling you the truth." He moves toward her. She backs away. "Evelyn, when I took over this empire, it was rotting from the inside. The only way to dismantle it was from within. The offshore accounts are how I move money without triggering federal investigations. The shell companies protect the people I'm trying to help. The political contributions buy me time to finish what I started. And the housing projects? They're real. Every single one." He stops a few feet away from her. I'm not laundering money through them. I'm funding them with money I earned legally through real estate and construction. Catherine left because I wouldn't let her skim off the top. She's been trying to destroy me ever since. Evelyn stares at him. How am I supposed to believe you? Because you know me. I don't know you. The words explode out of her. You disappeared for 2 years and came back as someone else. You live in a fortress. You have armed guards. You just survived a bombing, and now you're telling me you're playing some kind of long game with an empire built on violence. How am I supposed to trust any of that? Adrian's face crumples, just for a second. Then he pulls himself together. You're right, he says quietly. You shouldn't trust me. Adrian, I asked too much of you. I thought... He stops, shakes his head. It doesn't matter what I thought. You should go. That's it? You're just giving up? I'm letting you make your own choice. He turns away. I won't trap you in this world. Evelyn's hands are shaking. Her mind is screaming at her to leave, to run, to get as far away from this man and his blood-soaked empire as possible. But her feet won't move. I need time, she says finally. He nods, doesn't look at her. She walks out. For the next 3 days, Evelyn disappears into work. She takes on every case, stays late every night, avoids her phone, avoids her apartment, avoids thinking about Adrian standing alone in that study, his face blank, his voice hollow. On the 4th day, Marcus shows up at the center. Mr. Vale wants to see you. Tell him I'm busy. It's urgent. I don't care. Marcus steps closer. His voice drops. He's planning something, Dr. Hayes, something dangerous, and I think he's going to get himself killed. Her pulse spikes. What are you talking about? He's going after the people responsible for the bombing, tonight, and he's not taking backup. Evelyn's stomach drops. That's suicide. I know. Marcus's expression is grim. That's why I'm here. Mkas. She finds Adrian in the armory. It's a room she didn't know existed, deep in the basement of the mansion, behind a steel door with a keypad lock. Inside are racks of weapons, rifles, handguns, tactical gear. Adrian is loading a magazine into a Glock. He's wearing all black. No suit, no polish, just raw purpose. What are you doing? Evelyn asks from the doorway. He doesn't look up. What I should have done days ago. You're going to get yourself killed. Maybe. Adrian, I found the traitor. He slams the magazine into place and chambers around. Victor Kane, my head of security. He's the one who planted the bomb. He's been working with a rival organization for months, feeding them information, sabotaging operations. And tonight, he's meeting with them to finalize a deal that will destroy everything I've built. Then call the police. The police can't touch him. He's got half the department on his payroll. So what's your plan? Storm in there and shoot everyone? If that's what it takes? She crosses the room and grabs his wrist. This isn't you. He finally looks at her. His eyes are cold, dead. Yes, it is. The words freeze her blood. You said you were trying to be better, she whispers. I lied. He pulls free. I was never trying to be better. I was trying to survive, and now I'm out of options. There's always another option. Not this time. He picks up a tactical vest and straps it on. Victor's meeting is in 2 hours. By midnight, this will be over. And then what? Then you go back to your life, and I go back to mine. Evelyn's throat tightens. Is that what you want? Adrian pauses. For a moment, he looks like he's going to say something. Then he just shakes his head. It doesn't matter what I want. He walks past her toward the door. Wait. He stops. If you do this, she says quietly, you'll lose everything. The housing projects, the scholarships, the families you've been helping. It'll all be gone. I know. Then why? He turns to face her. Because if I don't, they'll come for you next. The words hang in the air between them. What? Victor knows about you. He knows how much you mean to me, and he'll use that. Adrian's voice is raw, desperate. I can't. I won't let that happen. Evelyn's pulse is hammering. So this is about protecting me. This is about making sure you survive. He steps closer. Even if I don't. She grabs his face with both hands, forcing him to look at her. Then let me come with you. Absolutely not. If you're going to die tonight, I'm not letting you die alone. Evelyn. I mean it. Her voice is steel. Either we do this together, or you stay here. Adrian stares at her. For a long moment, he doesn't speak. Then he says quietly, You'll do exactly what I say. Yes. And if I tell you to run, you run. Fine. He closes his eyes. This is a mistake. Probably. He opens his eyes. There's something new in them. Something that looks almost like hope. Get a vest, he says. The meeting is in an abandoned factory on the south side, the same neighborhood where Evelyn's center is located. The irony isn't lost on her. They drive in silence. Adrian's jaw is tight. His hands grip the steering wheel like he's strangling it. Evelyn sits in the passenger seat wearing a bulletproof vest that's too big for her, her heart hammering so hard she can feel it in her teeth. When we get inside, Adrian says, you stay behind me. Don't talk. Don't move unless I tell you to. What are you going to do? Confront Victor. Get him to confess. Record everything. And if he doesn't confess? Adrian doesn't answer. They pull up to the factory. It's a massive concrete structure with broken windows and graffiti-covered walls. A single car is parked out front, a black SUV with tinted windows. That's Victor's, Adrian says quietly. He kills the engine. They sit in the dark, listening to the distant sound of traffic. You can still turn back, he says. So can you. He looks at her. I'm sorry. For what? For dragging you into this. Before she can respond, he's out of the car. She follows. They move through the shadows toward the factory entrance. The door is ajar. Inside, voices echo off the walls. Adrian signals for her to stay close. They slip inside. The factory floor is vast and empty. Moonlight filters through the broken windows, casting everything in silver and shadow. At the far end, near a pile of rusted machinery, 3 men are standing in a circle. One of them is Victor Kane. He's tall, broad-shouldered, with graying hair and a scar running down his neck. The same man Evelyn saw storm out of Adrian's office days ago. The other 2 men are strangers. One is older, wearing an expensive suit. The other is younger, holding a briefcase. Adrian steps forward into the light. Victor. All 3 men turn. Victor's face goes hard. Adrian, I was wondering when you'd show up. Did you really think I wouldn't figure it out? Honestly, I hoped you'd die in the blast. Victor's voice is calm, casual. But you always were good at surviving. Adrian's hand moves toward the gun at his waist. You killed 2 of my men. Collateral damage. They trusted you. They were weak. Victor shrugs. Just like you. The man in the suit steps forward. Mr. Vale, I don't believe we've met. My name is... I don't care who you are. Adrian cuts him off. His eyes are locked on Victor. I want to know why. Victor laughs. Why? Because you're destroying everything this empire was built on. You want to go legitimate? Build schools and hospitals? That's not what we do, Adrian. We take, we control, we survive. And you think working with them, Adrian gestures to the suited man, is going to save you? No. I think killing you is going to save me. Victor pulls a gun. Everything happens at once. Adrian draws his weapon. The younger man drops the briefcase and pulls a pistol. The suited man dives for cover. Evelyn screams. Gunfire erupts. The sound is deafening. Muzzle flashes light up the darkness like lightning. Bullets ricochet off metal, sparking in the shadows. Adrian shoves Evelyn behind a concrete pillar and returns fire. Victor and his men scatter, using the machinery as cover. Run! Adrian shouts. Evelyn doesn't move. She can't. Her legs are frozen. Her ears are ringing. All she can see is Adrian crouched behind a metal beam, his gun raised, his face set in grim determination. Victor fires again. The bullet hits the beam inches from Adrian's head. Adrian fires back. Misses. Evelyn, get out of here. No! Another gunshot. This one hits the pillar beside her, spraying concrete dust into her face. She drops to the ground, her hands over her head, her heart exploding in her chest. And then she sees it. The younger man is circling around, moving through the shadows, getting behind Adrian. He raises his gun. Evelyn doesn't think. She just moves. She grabs a piece of broken rebar from the ground and swings it as hard as she can. It connects with the man's skull. He goes down hard, his gun skittering across the floor. Adrian spins, sees her. His eyes go wide. What are you? Victor fires. The bullet catches Adrian in the shoulder. He staggers back, his gun dropping from his hand. Evelyn screams. Victor steps out from cover, his weapon trained on Adrian's chest. It's over, he says. Adrian is on his knees, blood soaking through his shirt. He looks up at Victor, his face pale, his breathing ragged. You're right, he says quietly. Victor's finger tightens on the trigger. And then the factory floods with light. Sirens wail outside, boots pound on concrete, voices shout commands. Police! Drop your weapons! Victor freezes. Adrian looks past him toward the entrance. A dozen officers pour through the door, guns drawn. At the front is a woman in a dark suit, FBI. She walks straight to Victor. Victor Kane, you're under arrest for conspiracy, murder, and racketeering. Victor's face goes white. What? The woman holds up a phone. We've been listening to every word. She looks at Adrian. Nice work, Mr. Vale. Adrian doesn't respond. He's staring at Evelyn, his hand pressed to his bleeding shoulder, his eyes filled with something that looks like relief and terror. Okay. The paramedics take Adrian to the hospital. Evelyn rides in the ambulance, her hand gripping his, her mind spinning. You set him up, she whispers. Adrian nods weakly. Catherine Reeves? She wasn't trying to destroy me. She was helping me build a case against Victor. The USB drive, the meeting, it was all part of the plan. And the FBI? I've been working with them for 6 months, feeding them information, recording conversations, building evidence. He winces as the paramedic adjusts the bandage on his shoulder. Tonight was the final piece. Evelyn stares at him. You lied to me. I had to. If you'd known, I could have helped. You did help. He looks at her. You saved my life. She doesn't know what to say. At the hospital, they wheel Adrian into surgery. Evelyn sits in the waiting room, her hands still shaking, her vest covered in someone else's blood. Hours pass. Finally, a doctor comes out. He's stable. The bullet didn't hit anything vital. He'll need physical therapy, but he'll recover. Evelyn nods. She doesn't trust herself to speak. You can see him in a few hours. She waits. When they finally let her into the recovery room, Adrian is awake. He's propped up in bed, his shoulder bandaged, an IV in his arm. He looks at her. I'm sorry, he says. For what? For everything. She sits in the chair beside the bed. For a long time, neither of them speaks. Then Evelyn says quietly, Catherine showed me a video. You in a warehouse with crates of weapons. Adrian's face hardens. That was Victor's operation, not mine. I was documenting it for the FBI. And the offshore accounts? Being audited and liquidated. Every penny's going into a foundation. She searches his face. Tell me the truth. All of it. So he does. He tells her about the deal he made with the FBI, about the months of surveillance and recording, about the people he had to betray to bring Victor down, about the nights he spent alone in that nursery, wondering if any of it was worth it. He tells her everything. And when he's done, Evelyn leans forward and kisses him. It's not gentle. It's exhausted, desperate. The kiss of two people who've survived something they shouldn't have. When they break apart, Adrian's eyes are wet. I thought I lost you, he whispers. You almost did. I know. She rests her forehead against his. Don't lie to me again. I won't. Promise. I promise. They sit in the silence, holding on to each other like they're the only solid thing left in a world that's falling apart. Outside the window, the sun is starting to rise. And for the first time in years, Evelyn thinks maybe, just maybe, they're going to survive this. But then her phone buzzes. A text from an unknown number. Victor wasn't working alone. The real threat is still out there. And they're coming for both of you. Evelyn's blood runs cold. She shows Adrian the message. His face goes white. We need to leave, he says. Now. What? You just had surgery? Oh, it doesn't matter. He's already ripping out his IV, swinging his legs over the side of the bed. If they know we're here, the lights go out. The hospital plunges into darkness. Emergency alarms start wailing. And somewhere down the hall, Evelyn hears gunfire. The gunfire comes closer. Adrian is on his feet, hospital gown hanging open, blood already seeping through the fresh bandage on his shoulder. He grabs Evelyn's wrist with his good hand and pulls her toward the door. Stay behind me. The hallway is chaos. Nurses running, patients screaming, emergency lights strobing red in the darkness. Somewhere down the corridor, glass shatters. More gunshots. The sound bounces off the walls like thunder trapped in a tunnel. Adrian presses against the wall, pulling Evelyn with him. His breathing is ragged. Sweat beads on his forehead. How many? She whispers. I don't know. A nurse runs past them, her scrub splattered with blood that isn't hers. She's crying. Adrian grabs her arm. Which way to the stairs? She points with a shaking hand. East wing? But there's men with guns. How many? I don't know. 3, maybe 4? Another burst of gunfire cuts her off. Closer now, maybe 20 feet away. Adrian releases the nurse and turns to Evelyn. His eyes are hard, focused. When I say run, you run. Don't look back. Don't stop. Get to the stairwell and go down. There's an underground parking garage. Find a car and get out. What about you? I'll find you. That's not good enough. Evelyn. He cups her face with his bloody hand. I need you to trust me. Before she can answer, a man rounds the corner. He's dressed in black tactical gear, face covered by a balaclava, rifle raised. He sees them and swings the weapon toward Adrian. Adrian moves faster. He shoves Evelyn to the ground and lunges. The rifle goes off, deafening in the enclosed space, but the shot goes wild, punching through the ceiling tiles. Adrian crashes into the man, driving him backward into the wall. They grapple. The rifle clatters to the floor. Evelyn scrambles for it. Her hands close around cold metal. She's never held a gun this heavy. It feels wrong, foreign. The two men are still fighting. Adrian throws a punch with his bad arm and screams. The man in the mask drives a knee into his ribs. Adrian goes down. The masked man reaches for a pistol on his hip. Evelyn doesn't think. She lifts the rifle and pulls the trigger. Nothing happens. Safety's on. The masked man turns toward her. She can see his eyes through the balaclava, cold, empty. He raises his pistol. Adrian surges up from the floor and tackles him. They go down hard. The pistol skitters across the linoleum. This time, Adrian doesn't stop. He slams the man's head into the floor once, twice, 3 times. The balaclava comes off. The man underneath is young, maybe 25. Blood pours from his nose. Adrian grabs the pistol and stands, breathing hard, his hospital gown soaked through with blood and sweat. Run, he says. Evelyn runs, booked. The stairwell is pitch black except for the emergency lights. She takes the stairs 2 at a time, her lungs burning, her legs shaking. Behind her, she hears more gunfire, shouting, footsteps pounding. She bursts through the door into the parking garage. It's empty, silent. Rows of cars sit under flickering fluorescent lights. The air smells like oil and exhaust. She moves between the cars, staying low, her heart hammering so hard she can taste it. Where is Adrian? A door slams somewhere behind her. Footsteps echo off concrete. She ducks behind a minivan and holds her breath. The footsteps get closer. She risks a glance around the bumper. A woman is walking through their garage. Tall, black coat, silver-streaked hair pulled into a tight bun. Catherine Reeves. Evelyn's stomach drops. Catherine is holding a phone to her ear. Still inside, we're sweeping the floors now. If Vale's alive, we'll find him. She pauses, listens. And the woman? Another pause. Understood. She hangs up and pulls a pistol from inside her coat. Evelyn shrinks back behind the minivan, her mind racing. Catherine was supposed to be helping them. She was working with the FBI. She gave Adrian the evidence against Victor. Unless that was the lie. Unless everything Catherine told them was designed to lead them here. Evelyn's phone buzzes in her pocket. She fumbles for it, hands shaking. A text from Adrian. Where are you? She types back with trembling fingers. Parking garage. Level B2. Catherine's here. The reply comes instantly. Don't move. I'm coming. Catherine's footsteps are getting closer. Evelyn looks around desperately. There's nowhere to hide, nowhere to run. She's trapped between cars with a woman holding a gun 10 feet away. She does the only thing she can think of. She stands up. Catherine spins, pistol raised. They stare at each other across the hood of a sedan. "Dr. Hayes." Catherine's voice is calm, almost pleasant. "I was hoping you'd make this easy. You set us up. I opened a door, you walked through it." Catherine moves closer, the gun never wavering. "Victor was sloppy, emotional. He would have destroyed the empire before we could take control of it. Adrian, on the other hand, Adrian was methodical, smart, dangerous. He had to be removed properly." "You work for the people trying to kill us. I work for the people who actually run this city." Catherine stops 5 feet away. "Adrian thought he could dismantle the empire from within. He thought he could turn blood money into charity and walk away clean. He was wrong. So you're what? Going to kill us both and take over?" "I'm going to finish what should have been finished 2 years ago." Catherine's finger moves to the trigger. "Nothing personal, Doctor. You were just in the wrong place at the wrong time." She starts to squeeze. A gunshot cracks through the garage. Catherine stumbles. The pistol drops from her hand. She looks down at the red bloom spreading across her shoulder, her face twisted in shock. Behind her, Adrian stands with a rifle braced against his good shoulder. His hospital gown is gone. He's wearing stolen scrubs and a security guard's jacket. Blood stains the fabric dark. Catherine turns to run. Adrian fires again. This time she goes down. He walks forward slowly, the rifle still raised, until he's standing over her. She's clutching her leg, her face pale, her breathing shallow. "How many more?" Adrian asks quietly. "Go to hell." He presses the rifle barrel against her knee. "How many?" Catherine's face contorts. "6. Plus the strike team in the hospital." "Who hired you?" "You really don't know." She laughs, wet and painful. "The same people who've been running Chicago for 50 years. The same people your wife thought she married into. The Vale family isn't yours, Adrian. It never was. You were just keeping the seat warm until we were ready to take it back." Adrian's finger tightens on the trigger. "Don't." Evelyn's voice cuts through the silence. He looks at her. "She's not worth it," Evelyn says quietly. "Let the FBI handle her." For a long moment, Adrian doesn't move. Then he lowers the rifle. "Tie her up," he says. Evelyn uses Catherine's belt and shoelaces to bind her wrists and ankles. Catherine doesn't resist. She just lies there, breathing hard, blood pooling beneath her. Adrian pulls out his phone and makes a call. "Marcus, I need extraction. We're in the parking garage at Northwestern Memorial." He pauses. "No, we're compromised. They know everything." Another pause. His jaw tightens. "Do it." He hangs up. "What did you just do?" Evelyn asks. "Burned it all down." He leans against a car, his face gray with pain. "Every safe house, every account, every contact. If they want the empire, they're going to get ashes." "Adrian, it's over, Evelyn. The second Catherine made that call, it was over. We can't hide. We can't run. The only thing we can do is take the fight to them before they come for us." "And how do we do that?" He looks at her. "We go to the estate." "That's suicide. It's the only place they can't touch us. The security system, the bunker, the weapons cache, it's all still there. If we can make it inside, we have a chance." "A chance at what?" "Survival." He pushes off the car and starts walking toward the exit. "That's all we've got left." Walk. Marcus picks them up in an armored SUV 3 blocks from the hospital. He takes one look at Adrian and swears under his breath. "You should be in surgery." "I'll be dead if we don't move." Adrian climbs into the back seat, pulling Evelyn in after him. "How many men do we have?" 8 at the estate. Maybe 4 more I can pull from the West Side operations. That's it. It'll have to be enough. The drive through the city is a blur. Evelyn sits pressed against Adrian's good side, feeling him shake with every breath. His bandage is soaked through. He's losing too much blood. "You need a hospital," she says quietly. "I need to finish this." "You're going to die." "Not yet." He looks at her. His eyes are bloodshot, exhausted, but there's steel beneath the pain. "I didn't survive this long just to die in a car." They pull through the gates of the estate just after midnight. The mansion looms against the sky, dark except for a few lights on the ground floor. Armed men are positioned around the perimeter. Marcus stops the car near the main entrance. The FBI is 20 minutes out, he says. They're sending a tactical team. They won't make it in time. Adrian opens the door and climbs out, wincing. Get everyone inside, lock it down. No one gets in or out. And if they breach, then we make them bleed for every inch. Inside, the mansion feels like a tomb. Adrian moves through the halls, issuing orders. Men take positions at windows and doorways. Someone brings him a medical kit. Evelyn forces him to sit while she changes his bandage. Her hands are shaking so badly she can barely tie the gauze. You're losing too much blood, she says. I know. Adrian, I'm not leaving you. His voice is firm, final. Whatever happens, we stay together. She ties off the bandage and sits back on her heels. This is insane. Yeah. We could run. Get out of the city. Disappear. They'd find us. He stands slowly, testing his balance. These people, they don't stop. Ever. The only way this ends is if we end them first. A voice crackles over the radio on Marcus's hip. Movement on the perimeter. Multiple vehicles approaching from the south. Adrian's face hardens. Here we go. He leads Evelyn down to the basement through a reinforced steel door into a concrete bunker that smells like gun oil and stale air. Inside are racks of weapons, tactical gear, and a wall of security monitors showing every angle of the estate. On the screens, Evelyn can see them coming. 3 black SUVs rolling up the driveway, men in tactical gear spilling out, at least 20 of them, maybe more. Jesus, she whispers. Adrian hands her a pistol. You know how to use this? I've never... Safety's here, point and squeeze. Aim for center mass. He straps on a tactical vest and loads a rifle. Stay in the bunker. Don't come out unless I tell you to. I'm not hiding while you... That's Evelyn. He grabs her shoulders. I need you alive. Do you understand? I need you to survive this. Tears burn her eyes. Then don't die. He kisses her. Hard, desperate. Then he's gone. The first breach comes at the east wing. Evelyn watches on the monitors as armed men blow the doors off their hinges and pour inside. Adrian's men open fire from entrenched positions. The sound of gunfire echoes through the mansion, loud enough that she can hear it even in the bunker. On the screens, muzzle flashes light up the darkness like strobe lights. Men fall on both sides. Blood sprays across marble floors. Adrian is in the main hall, moving between cover points, firing controlled bursts. He drops 2 men. 3. Reloads without breaking stride. But there are too many. They keep coming. Evelyn grips the pistol, her knuckles white, her whole body is shaking. On the monitor, she sees a man throw a grenade. The explosion rips through the sitting room. Furniture erupts into splinters. A chandelier crashes to the floor. Adrian staggers out of the smoke, bleeding from a dozen cuts, his vest torn. He keys the radio. Fall back to the central staircase. We're not holding the perimeter. His men retreat, firing as they go. The attackers advance, methodical and relentless. Evelyn's phone buzzes. A text from an unknown number. Send out Adrian Vale and we'll let you live. She stares at the screen, her pulse pounding in her ears. Another text. You have 2 minutes. She looks at the monitors. Adrian is trapped on the second floor, pinned down by suppressing fire. 2 of his men are already dead. The rest are running out of ammunition. They're not going to make it. She stands, grabs the pistol, and walks out of the bunker. The mansion is hell. Smoke chokes the air. Fires burn in 3 different rooms. Bodies lie sprawled across the floors, some in tactical gear, some in suits, all bleeding out onto expensive rugs. Evelyn moves through the carnage, her pistol raised, her hands steady, for the first time all night. She finds Adrian on the second-floor landing. He's behind an overturned desk, reloading with shaking hands. His face is pale. His breathing is shallow. What are you doing here? He shouts over the gunfire. Saving your life. I told you to stay in the bunker, and I'm telling you this ends now. She pulls out her phone and shows him the text. They want you, not me. Adrian's face goes white. No. It's the only way. Absolutely not. Adrian, you're dying. Your men are dying. This doesn't end unless someone makes it end. I won't let you. It's not your choice. She grabs his face, forcing him to look at her. I love you. I never stopped. But I'm not watching you bleed out on this floor because you're too stubborn to let me help. His eyes are wet. They'll kill you. Maybe. Or maybe the FBI gets here first. She kisses him one more time. Either way, you get to live. She stands and walks toward the stairs before he can stop her. Evelyn! She doesn't turn around. She walks down the grand staircase, her pistol at her side, her head held high. At the bottom, armed men are waiting, at least a dozen of them. Their weapons are trained on her. In the center stands a man in an expensive suit. He's older, 60 maybe, with silver hair and cold blue eyes. Dr. Hayes, he says, I'm impressed. I didn't think you had it in you. Where's Adrian? She asks. That depends on you. The man gestures to one of his soldiers. Drop the weapon. She sets the pistol on the floor. Now, where is he? Safe. The man smiles. It doesn't reach his eyes. You're very brave. Or very stupid. I haven't decided which. Who are you? Malcolm Vale. Adrian's father-in-law. He steps closer. Or rather, the father of the woman he married to steal my empire. Evelyn's blood runs cold. Adrian didn't steal anything. He inherited He inherited what I allowed him to inherit. The marriage was a test, a way to see if he was strong enough to hold power. Malcolm's voice is ice. Turns out, he's not. He's weak, sentimental. He thinks he can wash away blood with charity. He's trying to do something good. He's trying to dismantle everything I built. Malcolm's eyes narrow. And you helped him do it. So what? You're going to kill me to punish him? No. Malcolm reaches into his jacket and pulls out a pistol. I'm going to kill you because you're leverage, and leverage is the only thing Adrian understands. He raises the gun. A shot rings out. Malcolm stumbles. Behind him, Adrian stands at the top of the stairs, rifle braced against his shoulder, blood streaming down his face. Get away from her, he says quietly. Malcolm turns, clutching his side. You don't have the strength. Adrian fires again. This time Malcolm goes down. The armed men open fire. Adrian dives behind a marble column. Bullets chip away at the stone, sending dust and debris flying. Evelyn drops to the floor and scrambles for her pistol. One of the soldiers swings his rifle toward her. She fires first. The recoil nearly breaks her wrist. The shot goes wide, but it's enough to make him flinch. Adrian leans out from cover and drops him with a headshot. The firefight erupts into chaos. Adrian empties his magazine, drops two more men, and rolls behind an overturned couch. Evelyn crawls toward him, bullets snapping through the air above her head. She reaches him. He's gasping for breath. His vest has 3 new bullet holes in it. You're insane, she says. You started it. Despite everything, she almost laughs. Adrian reloads. When I say go, we run for the bunker. Don't stop. Don't look back. What about... Sirens wail outside. Floodlights sweep across the windows. A voice booms through a megaphone. This is the FBI. Drop your weapons and come out with your hands up. The remaining soldiers freeze. Malcolm Vale, still bleeding on the floor, laughs. It's a wet, horrible sound. You think they're here to save you? He rasps. I own half the bureau. This doesn't end, Adrian. It never ends. Adrian walks over and stands above him. You're right, it doesn't end. He raises the rifle. Adrian, don't! Evelyn's voice cuts through the smoke. He looks at her. He's not worth it, she says quietly. Let them take him. Adrian's finger hovers over the trigger. For a long moment, nobody moves. Then he lowers the rifle. Get him out of here, he says to the soldiers still standing. They drag Malcolm toward the door. Outside, FBI agents swarm the property. The firefight is over. The mansion is ruined. Bodies lie scattered across floors that will never be clean again. Adrian sinks to his knees, the rifle clattering to the ground. Evelyn runs to him, catches him before he collapses. I've got you, she whispers. I know, he breathes. And then he passes out in her arms. The paramedics stabilize him on site. 3 gunshot wounds, 1 to the shoulder, 1 grazing his ribs, 1 through the thigh. Massive blood loss. Shock, but alive. Evelyn rides with him in the ambulance for the 2nd time in 12 hours. This time, she doesn't let go of his hand. At the hospital, they take him straight into surgery. Evelyn sits in the waiting room, covered in blood that isn't hers, and stares at the wall. Hours pass. An FBI agent comes to take her statement. She tells him everything. He writes it all down without expression. Malcolm Vale is in custody, he says, along with 16 of his men. The organization is finished. What about Adrian? That depends on what he wants. The agent closes his notebook. He's been cooperating with us for months. Everything he did was under our supervision. As far as we're concerned, he's a witness, not a suspect. So he's free? If he survives, yes. The agent leaves. Evelyn sits alone in the fluorescent silence. Finally, a doctor appears. He's out of surgery. Critical but stable. You can see him in an hour. Evelyn nods. She still can't speak. When they finally let her into the ICU, Adrian is unconscious, hooked up to a dozen machines. His chest rises and falls with mechanical precision. His face is bruised and swollen, but he's breathing. Evelyn sits in the chair beside his bed and takes his hand. You better wake up, she whispers, because I'm not doing this alone. His fingers twitch, just barely, but it's enough. Prasam. 3 days later, Adrian opens his eyes. Evelyn is asleep in the chair beside him, her head resting on the edge of his bed. Sunlight streams through the window. The machines beep steadily. He watches her for a long time. Then he squeezes her hand. She jerks awake, her eyes wide. Hey, he rasps. Hey. Her voice breaks. She leans forward and kisses his forehead, his cheek, his lips. When she pulls back, she's crying. Don't ever do that again, she says. Deal. They sit in silence, holding on to each other while the world outside keeps turning. And for the first time in years, Evelyn lets herself believe they might actually survive this. But somewhere in the back of her mind, she knows the hardest part is still ahead. Because survival is one thing. Living is something else entirely. Adrian spends 2 weeks in the hospital. The first few days are a blur of surgeries and sedation. Evelyn stays by his side through all of it, sleeping in the chair, eating vending machine food, ignoring calls from Daniel and her sister. The nurses stop asking her to leave. They just bring her coffee and pretend not to notice when she cries. On the 5th day, Adrian is finally coherent enough to talk. Malcolm, he asks, his voice rough from the breathing tube they only removed that morning. FBI custody. They're charging him with conspiracy to commit murder, racketeering, weapons trafficking. Evelyn squeezes his hand. He's not getting out. Adrian closes his eyes. The estate? Burned. The FBI seized what was left. It's a crime scene now. Good. She looks at him. Good? I hated that place. He opens his eyes. It was never mine. It was always his. What about the empire, the housing projects, the scholarships? The FBI's auditing everything. The legitimate businesses will be transferred to a foundation. The rest, he shakes his head. The rest gets dismantled. Evelyn is quiet for a moment. And you? What happens to you? I testify, I cooperate, and then he looks at her. I don't know. I haven't thought that far ahead. You should. Why? Because for the first time in 2 years, you actually have a future. Adrian doesn't respond. He just stares at the ceiling, his jaw tight, his eyes distant. That night, after Evelyn falls asleep in the chair, he lies awake listening to the machines beep and wondering if she's right. Cut. The FBI interviews start on day 7. They bring a portable recorder and a stenographer. 2 agents sit beside Adrian's hospital bed, asking questions he's answered 100 times already. Evelyn watches from the corner, her arms crossed, her expression unreadable. When did Malcolm Vale first contact you after his daughter's death? 3 weeks after the funeral. And what did he offer you? Control of the family business. He said I'd earned it by marrying Elena. Did you know at the time that the business was a criminal organization? Adrian's jaw tightens. I knew enough. But you took control anyway. Yes. Why? He looks at Evelyn, then back at the agents. Because I had nothing else to lose. The questions go on for hours. Dates, names, locations, financial transactions. Every decision he made, every order he gave, every line he crossed. By the time they finish, Adrian looks hollowed out. The lead agent closes his notebook. We'll need you to testify in front of a grand jury, probably in 3 months, once you've recovered. And then? And then you're free to go. After they leave, Evelyn sits on the edge of the bed. You okay? She asks quietly. No. He stares at his hands. I spent 2 years trying to convince myself I was doing the right thing, that I could take something rotten and turn it into something good. But all I did was make excuses for staying in a world I should have left the day I walked into it. You saved a lot of people. And I hurt just as many. Adrian, I killed people, Evelyn. His voice cracks. Not directly. But I gave orders that got people killed. I made deals with men I knew were monsters. I told myself it was necessary, that it was temporary. But the truth is, I like the power. I like the control. And that makes me just as bad as Malcolm. Evelyn takes his face in her hands, forcing him to look at her. You're not Malcolm, she says firmly. Malcolm would have killed me without hesitation. You almost died protecting me. That's the difference. Is it? Yes. Her voice is steel. You made mistakes. You hurt people. But you also tried to fix it. And you're still trying. That's more than most people ever do. Adrian closes his eyes. A tear slides down his cheek. I don't know how to live with what I've done. You learn. She wipes the tear away with her thumb. One day at a time, just like everyone else. 3 weeks after the siege, Adrian is discharged from the hospital. He has nowhere to go. The estate is gone. The safe houses have been seized. His bank accounts are frozen pending the investigation. Evelyn brings him to her apartment. He stands in the doorway of the tiny studio, staring at the yellow walls, the secondhand furniture, the single window overlooking a fire escape. It's not much, Evelyn says. It's perfect. She helps him inside. He moves slowly, favoring his left leg, his shoulder still wrapped in bandages. They've given him a cane. He hates it. Evelyn makes tea while Adrian sits on the couch. He looks out of place here. This man in expensive clothes sitting in a room that costs $600 a month. I can find somewhere else to stay, he says quietly. Don't be stupid. She hands him a mug. You're staying here until you figure out what's next. And if I never figure it out, then you stay anyway. He looks at her. Why? Because I'm tired of losing you. They sit in silence, drinking tea that's too hot, watching the sun set through the window. That night, Adrian sleeps on the couch. Evelyn offers him the bed, but he refuses. He says he can't sleep lying flat yet. The truth is, he doesn't feel like he deserves it. In the middle of the night, Evelyn wakes to the sound of him screaming. She runs to the living room. He's tangled in blankets, thrashing, his face slick with sweat. Adrian! She grabs his shoulders. He swings at her, pure instinct. She ducks. His fist hits the wall. Then he wakes up. His eyes are wild, terrified. It's okay, she whispers. You're okay. You're safe. He's shaking so hard his teeth chatter. I'm sorry, he gasps. I'm sorry, I didn't mean... I know. She sits beside him, pulling him against her. I know. He buries his face in her shoulder and breaks. Not quiet tears. Full, racking sobs that shake his entire body. Evelyn holds him and doesn't say anything. There's nothing to say. She just lets him cry until he's empty. When he finally pulls back, his face is red and swollen. I keep seeing them, he whispers. The people who died because of me. Stevens, Caldwell, the men at the factory. I close my eyes and they're all there, staring at me. That's called guilt, Evelyn says quietly. It means you're human. It feels like punishment. Maybe it is. She cups his face. But punishment doesn't last forever. Eventually you learn to carry it. How? By not carrying it alone. She takes his hand and leads him to the bed. They lie down together, fully clothed, and she wraps her arms around him. Sleep, she says. I'll be here when you wake up. For the first time in weeks, he does. The weeks that follow are strange and quiet. Adrian attends physical therapy 3 times a week. He meets with FBI agents twice. He spends the rest of his time in Evelyn's apartment, reading books he finds at the thrift store and learning how to cook pasta that doesn't burn. Evelyn goes back to work at the center. Daniel doesn't ask questions. He just puts her back on the schedule and pretends the last month didn't happen. The donation from Adrian, from the Vale estate, has been frozen pending the investigation. The center is back to operating on fumes. Daniel starts looking for new funding. Evelyn helps. At night, she comes home to find Adrian on the couch, staring at nothing. "You okay?" she always asks. "Yeah," he always lies. One evening, she comes home to find him standing at the window, his hand pressed against the glass. "I went to the cemetery today," he says without turning around. Evelyn sets down her bag. "Which one?" "Oakwood, where we buried him." Her chest tightens. "Why?" "I don't know. I needed to see it." She walks over and stands beside him. And I realized I've been angry at him this whole time." "At who?" "Our son." Adrian's voice cracks. "For dying, for leaving us, for being the reason our marriage fell apart. And God, that's so fucked up, I know it is, but I can't." "Hey." She turns him to face her. "You're allowed to be angry. You're allowed to feel whatever you feel. He was innocent. So were you." Adrian shakes his head. "I wasn't innocent. I was a coward. I couldn't handle the grief, so I ran. And when I finally stopped running, I turned into someone I didn't recognize. Then changed back." "I can't." "Yes, you can." She takes his hands. "You're not that man anymore. You're not the broken husband who left. And you're not the crime boss who almost died in a mansion full of blood. You're something new, and you get to decide what that is." Adrian looks at her for a long time. "What if I don't know how?" "Then we figure it out together." Masid. 2 months after the siege, the grand jury convenes. Adrian testifies for 3 days straight. He sits in a windowless room and tells strangers every terrible thing he's ever done. The shell companies, the bribes, the deals with men who trafficked guns and drugs and people. He doesn't make excuses. He doesn't minimize. He just tells the truth. On the 3rd day, the prosecutor asks, "Do you regret your actions, Mr. Vale?" Adrian looks at Evelyn sitting in the gallery. She gives him a small nod. "Yes," he says quietly. "Every single day." "And if you could go back, would you do things differently?" "I'd never have walked into that world in the first place." The prosecutor nods, no further questions. The grand jury indicts Malcolm Vale on 47 counts. They grant Adrian immunity in exchange for his testimony. When it's over, Adrian walks out of the courthouse a free man. Evelyn is waiting on the steps. She doesn't say anything. She just takes his hand. They walk through the city together, past the river, past the loop, all the way to the lake. The water is gray and cold. Seagulls circle overhead. "What now?" Adrian asks. "I don't know." Evelyn looks out at the water. "What do you want?" He thinks about it, really thinks about it. "I want to help people," he says finally. "Not with money or power or some empire built on lies, just directly, honestly." "How?" "I don't know yet." He turns to her. "But I know I want to do it with you." Evelyn smiles. It's the first real smile he's seen from her in months. "Okay," she says. "Let's figure it out." 6 months later, Evelyn walks into the center to find Daniel waiting in her office with a man she doesn't recognize. "Dr. Hayes, this is James Chen. He's with the Wade Foundation." Evelyn shakes his hand. "How can I help you?" James sits down. "Actually, we're here to help you. The Wade Foundation is interested in funding community outreach centers across Chicago. We've been reviewing your work, and we'd like to offer a partnership." Evelyn's pulse quickens. "What kind of partnership?" "Full operational funding for 5 years, plus grants for expansion. We'd like to open 4 more centers in underserved neighborhoods. You'd oversee all of them." She stares at him. That's millions of dollars. 6 million, to be exact. James slides a folder across the desk. "All the details are in here. Look it over and let us know." After he leaves, Evelyn sits alone in her office, staring at the folder. That night, she brings it home. Adrian is in the kitchen, making dinner. He's gotten better at it. The pasta only burns half the time now. "You're not going to believe this," she says. She tells him about the Wade Foundation, the funding, the expansion. Adrian listens quietly, stirring sauce that actually smells good. "That's incredible," he says when she finishes. "It is." She hesitates. "There's just one problem." "What?" "I looked up the Wade Foundation. It's brand new, registered 6 months ago, and the founder's name is listed as anonymous. Adrian keeps stirring. Adrian. He sets down the spoon and turns to face her. I sold everything I had left. The legitimate businesses, the real estate holdings, every asset Malcolm didn't seize. I put it all into a foundation. Evelyn's chest tightens. Why? Because you were right. I can't change the past, but I can build something better with what's left. He steps closer. I didn't tell you because I didn't want you to feel obligated. If you want to turn it down, she kisses him. When she pulls back, she's crying. You're an idiot, she says. I know. A beautiful, selfless idiot. I know. She kisses him again, harder this time. I'm taking the job, she whispers against his lips. Good. Eats. 1 year after the siege, Evelyn stands in the lobby of the new community center on the west side. It's opening day. The building is full of people, families, city officials, reporters. Everyone wants to see what the Wade Foundation built. The center is beautiful, bright, clean. There's a medical clinic, a job training lab, a daycare, and counseling offices that don't have cracks running down the walls. Adrian stands beside her wearing a suit he bought off the rack. He doesn't own expensive clothes anymore. Doesn't live in a mansion. Doesn't have armed guards. He works construction now, rebuilding houses in the same neighborhoods the Vale Empire used to exploit. The pay is terrible. The work is brutal. He loves it. Nervous? He asks. Terrified, Evelyn admits. You'll be great. A woman approaches, the mayor's chief of staff. Dr. Hayes, we're ready for you. Evelyn takes a breath and walks to the podium. She looks out at the crowd, sees faces she recognizes. Carmen, the mother she helped a year ago, is here with her kids. They're smiling, healthy. Evelyn clears her throat. I'm not good at speeches, she starts. So I'm going to keep this short. Scattered laughter. A year ago, I didn't think any of this was possible. The center I worked at was falling apart. The city didn't care. And I was... She pauses. Swallows. I was drowning. But then something changed. Not because one person swooped in and fixed everything, but because a lot of people decided that broken things are worth rebuilding. She looks at Adrian. He's standing in the back, his hands in his pockets, his eyes locked on hers. This center isn't about charity, she continues. It's about second chances. It's about believing that people can change, that communities can heal, that even when everything falls apart, we can choose to put it back together. She steps back from the podium. The crowd applauds. Later, after the speeches are over and the reporters leave, Evelyn finds Adrian outside. He's leaning against the building, smoking a cigarette he bummed off a construction worker. I thought you quit, she says. I did. This is my last one. He takes a drag and exhales slowly. How'd it feel? Surreal. Good surreal or bad surreal? Good. She leans against the wall beside him. I keep waiting for it to fall apart. Won't. How do you know? Because we built it right this time. He stubs out the cigarette and looks at her. No shortcuts. No lies. Just work. She takes his hand. You know people are going to figure out who funded this eventually. I know. And they're going to have questions. Let them. He squeezes her hand. I'm done hiding. They stand in the fading light, watching kids play basketball in the new court across the street. The nets are fresh. The lines are painted bright white. I have something for you, Adrian says suddenly. He reaches into his pocket and pulls out a small box. Evelyn's heart stops. Adrian, it's not what you think. He opens it. Inside is a key. What's this? A house. Small. Needs work. But it's got 3 bedrooms and a yard. He looks at her. I thought maybe, if you wanted, we could fix it up together. Evelyn stares at the key. 3 bedrooms? 1 for us? 1 for an office. He pauses. And 1 for whenever you're ready. Her eyes fill with tears. I don't know if I can do that again. I know. And if you never want to, that's okay. But I wanted you to know the options there. He closes the box gently. No pressure, no timeline. Just possibility. She takes the box, holds it against her chest. Can I see it? She whispers. Right now? Right now. The house is 20 minutes from the city, tucked into a quiet neighborhood with tree-lined streets and front porches. It's small, a bungalow with peeling paint and overgrown bushes. Adrian unlocks the door. Inside smells like dust and old wood. It's a mess, he says apologetically, but the bones are good. New roof, updated electrical. The plumbing needs work, but Evelyn walks through the living room, running her hand along the wall. There's a fireplace, built-in bookshelves, hardwood floors hidden under ancient carpet. She walks down the hall. The first bedroom is tiny. The second is bigger, with windows overlooking the backyard. The third bedroom is at the end of the hall. She stops in the doorway. It's empty. The walls are white. There's a window facing east where morning light would pour through. She stands there for a long time, imagining. Adrian appears behind her. He doesn't say anything, just waits. Finally, Evelyn turns to him. I want to paint it yellow. His face breaks into a smile. Yeah? Yeah. She looks back at the room. Not now, but someday, when we're ready. Whenever that is, he says quietly. I'll be here. She turns and kisses him, slow, deep. The kind of kiss that tastes like promise. When they break apart, she rests her forehead against his. I love you, she whispers. I never stopped. I love you too. They stand in the empty room, holding each other while the sun sets outside and the house creaks around them. It's not perfect, nothing ever is, but it's theirs, and that's enough. Ngit. 2 years after the siege, Evelyn wakes to sunlight streaming through curtains she sewed herself. Adrian is already awake, sitting at the edge of the bed, pulling on work boots. His shoulder still aches when it rains. His leg stiffens up in winter. But he's alive. Morning, she mumbles. Morning. He leans over and kisses her forehead. I'm heading to the Bronzeville site. Should be back by 6. Be safe. Always. He leaves. She hears the truck start in the driveway. Evelyn gets up and makes coffee. The house is quiet, clean. The walls are painted soft gray. The floors are refinished. The kitchen has new cabinets they installed themselves over 3 weekends of arguing and laughter. The third bedroom is still white. They haven't talked about it in months. Some days Evelyn walks past it without looking. Other days, she stands in the doorway and wonders. Today, she opens the door and steps inside. The room is full of morning light. Dust motes float in the air like snow. She pulls out her phone and opens her photos. Scrolls back 2 years. Finds the ultrasound photo Adrian gave her the night she almost lost him. She stares at the tiny profile. The shadow of a hand. Her chest aches. But it's not the sharp, suffocating pain it used to be. It's softer now, like an old scar that only hurts when you press on it. She takes a breath, then another, and she makes a decision. That evening, when Adrian comes home covered in sawdust and smelling like sweat, Evelyn is waiting in the kitchen. Hey, he says, kissing her cheek. How was your day? Good. She hands him a beer. I did something. What? She takes his hand and leads him down the hall to the third bedroom. She opens the door. Inside, leaning against the wall, is a paint can, pale yellow. Adrian stares at it, then at her. Are you sure? He asks quietly. No. She looks at him. But I'm tired of being afraid. His eyes fill with tears. He sets down the beer and pulls her into his arms. We'll take it slow, he whispers, however long it takes. I know. They stand in the doorway of the empty room, holding each other while the sun sets and the world outside keeps turning. It's not a promise. It's just a possibility. And for the first time in years, that feels like enough. 5 years after the siege, Evelyn stands in the backyard of the house, watching a little girl with dark curls chase fireflies through the grass. The girl is 3. Her name is Grace. She has Adrian's eyes, Evelyn's nose, a laugh that sounds like summer. Adrian is grilling burgers on the patio, arguing with Marcus about the proper way to season meat. Marcus visits once a month. He works security for the Wade Foundation now, still carries a gun, still calls Adrian sir, even though Adrian's told him 1,000 times to stop. Inside the house, Daniel and his wife are setting the table. Carmen and her kids are in the living room playing a board game that's getting way too competitive. It's Evelyn's birthday. She's 37. She never thought she'd make it this far. Grace runs up, breathless and glowing. "Mama, look!" She opens her hands. A firefly crawls across her palm, blinking. "Wow," Evelyn breathes. "Make a wish." Grace closes her eyes tight, whispers something Evelyn can't hear. Then she opens her hands and the firefly lifts into the air, blinking as it disappears into the dusk. "What did you wish for?" Evelyn asks. "Can't tell," Grace says seriously, "or it won't come true." She runs off to catch more fireflies. Adrian walks over, 2 beers in hand. He gives one to Evelyn. "Happy birthday," he says. "Thank you." They stand side by side, watching Grace spin in circles, her arms outstretched, her laughter ringing through the evening air. "You ever think about how we got here?" Adrian asks quietly. "Every day." "And?" Evelyn looks at him, at the man who disappeared and came back as someone else. The man who almost died saving her. The man who learned how to build things instead of breaking them. "And I think we earned it," she says. Adrian nods. "Yeah, we did." Grace runs over and crashes into Adrian's legs. He scoops her up, wincing slightly. His shoulder still hurts sometimes, and she shrieks with laughter. "Higher, Daddy!" "Higher than this? You'll fly away. Then catch me." He spins her around. Her curls fly. Her eyes are bright. Evelyn watches them and feels something she never thought she'd feel again. Peace. Not the absence of pain, just the presence of something stronger. That night, after everyone leaves and Grace is asleep in the yellow room upstairs, Evelyn and Adrian sit on the back porch. The fireflies are gone. The stars are out. The air smells like cut grass and distant rain. "I've been thinking," Adrian says. About opening another center on the south side. There's a neighborhood that needs it." Evelyn looks at him. "You want to build another one?" "I want to build 10 more. He turns to her. "I want to spend the rest of my life making up for the damage I caused." "Adrian, it's never enough." His voice is quiet but firm. "I took so much from this city, from you, from myself. I can spend 100 years trying to pay it back and it still won't be enough. But that doesn't mean I stop trying." Evelyn takes his hand. Okay, let's build 10 more." She smiles. "But you're in charge of fundraising this time." He laughs. It's a sound she never gets tired of hearing. They sit in the silence, holding hands, watching the stars. After a while, Evelyn says, "Do you ever think about him, our son?" "Every day," Adrian says quietly. "I think about who he would have been. What he would have looked like at 3, at 5, at 10. And it still hurts, but..." He pauses. "But I don't think he'd want us to stop living because he didn't get to." Evelyn's throat tightens. "No, he wouldn't. So we live." Adrian squeezes her hand. "For him, for Grace, for us." She leans her head on his shoulder. "Deal." They sit there until the stars blur and the night grows cold. Then they go inside, lock the doors, and climb the stairs together. Grace is sprawled across her bed, one arm flung over her stuffed rabbit. They stand in the doorway, watching her breathe. "We did good," Adrian whispers. "Yeah," Evelyn says. "We did." They close the door softly and walk down the hall to their own room, and for the first time in a lifetime, they sleep without nightmares. 10 years after the siege, the city unveils a new memorial in the park, where the original outreach center used to stand. It's a simple stone monument with a plaque that reads, "In memory of those lost to violence, in honor of those who chose to rebuild." Evelyn stands in front of it with Grace, now 8 years old, all elbows and questions, and reads the names etched into the stone. Some she recognizes, some she doesn't. At the bottom, in small letters, "The Haven Project, funded by the Wade Foundation." Adrian stands beside her, his hair streaked with gray now, his face lined with years of hard work and harder choices. "Do you think it matters?" he asks quietly. "Everything we've done?" Evelyn looks at Grace, who's running ahead to join a group of kids playing tag. She looks at the center across the street, the fifth one they've opened. She looks at the families walking through the park, safe and fed and whole. Yes, she says. It matters. Adrian nods. Good. They walk through the park together, hand in hand, while Grace runs ahead and the city hums around them. They are not the people they were. They are not broken. They are not fixed. They are something new, something forged in fire and grief and the stubborn refusal to give up. They are survivors. And that, in the end, is more than enough. That's it. Years later, when people ask Evelyn how she and Adrian made it through, she doesn't know what to say. There's no easy answer, no single moment when everything changed, just 1,000 small decisions. To stay when it would have been easier to leave, to forgive when it would have been easier to hate, to build when it would have been easier to burn. She thinks about the night she signed the divorce papers and thought her life was over. She thinks about the man who disappeared and came back as someone unrecognizable. She thinks about the nursery they painted together, and the child they lost, and the daughter they raised, and the empire they dismantled and rebuilt into something that actually helped people. And she realizes the truth. Love is not about avoiding darkness. It's about walking through it together and still choosing to stay. It's about two broken people learning that healing doesn't mean forgetting the pain. It means carrying it together until it's light enough to bear. Adrian finds her one evening in the yellow room, now repainted soft blue and filled with Grace's books and drawings. "What are you thinking about?" he asks. "Everything," she says. "Nothing." He sits beside her on the floor. "Regrets?" he asks. She thinks about it, really thinks about it. "No," she says finally. "Not anymore." Good. They sit in the quiet room, surrounded by the life they built from ruins. Outside, the world is still broken. People still suffer. Families still fall apart. Darkness still wins sometimes. But inside this house, in this moment, there is light. And that light, fragile and hard-won, is enough to keep the darkness at bay. Adrian takes her hand. "Thank you," he says quietly. "For what?" "For not giving up on me." Evelyn looks at him. This man who was once a ghost, once a stranger, once an enemy, and is now the person she trusts most in the world. "Thank you for coming back," she says. And in that yellow-turned-blue room where grief once lived, they hold each other while the sun sets and their daughter laughs downstairs, and the future stretches out before them, uncertain, imperfect, but undeniably theirs. This is not a story about redemption. It's a story about survival, about two people who lost everything and clawed their way back to something resembling whole. It's a story about choosing love even when love is terrifying, about building families from the ashes of the ones that burned, about learning that the opposite of broken isn't perfect. It's just lived. And they lived against all odds. Despite all evidence to the contrary, they lived together. And in the end, that was the only victory that mattered.